So we covered some really important topics in one of our latest episodes, 8 things to know before you buy in Ocean City. We thought 2 of those topics warranted their own episode. In response, I'm going to take a deep dive into the first 2 tips on that list, going into more detail about knowing your why behind your purchase, why it's so important to define and share this information with us, and knowing everything about what's nearby is a due diligence you cannot forget to do before you buy in Ocean City. I'm Grant Fritchley, and you're watching another episode of Selling Ocean City, where our goal is to make you a beach real estate expert. Now go ahead and click that subscribe button below. So here's a look from our side into what happens behind the scenes when a buyer reaches out for the first time. When a client asks me to help them buy a beach home, I still experience the same amount of excitement I did when I first started 25 years ago. It's what I love. So helping someone find a way to make their goals a reality is exciting and fun. Then my brain shifts gears and I start going through the list of what we need to do to make this happen. And at the very top of that list is having a very good and clear understanding of your goals. Why are you buying in Ocean City? What do you plan on using this property for? What do you see this property doing for you? What are your goals? What are your expectations? I can't encourage buyers enough. Don't skip this step. Why? Because you are not like my last buyer, and you won't be like the next person I work with either. You're all very different with very different goals, wants, needs, families, expectations, plans, and dreams. So just imagine this. I get a call from a buyer who grew up vacationing in Ocean City. They grew up at their parents' ocean block condo on 139th Street, and now they have young kids. They want to give those kids the same experience they had growing up. So their primary goal is to find a beach home on 138th to 141st Street, ocean block. They're willing to wait for the right property in the right location, and they're willing to be very flexible with price, size, and amenities. That why is completely different from another buyer I'm working with who recently sold an investment property near her daughter's university. Now she has to reinvest those proceeds from that sale in the next 180 days or she'll owe taxes. This buyer's primary goal is to find a beach place within her defined budget, within a very strict time frame. And she is only interested in rental income, at least for the first 2 years, because she has to satisfy that 1031 tax-deferred exchange. So when I'm helping you and I have a clear picture of why, I'm able to make sure we don't waste your time looking at properties that won't be a good fit, or even worse, I'm able to make sure you don't end up purchasing a property that isn't a good fit because I know what you're really looking for. Steering's a bad word in our profession, and I'll never steer anybody to anything, but a good agent is an advisor, a local expert, and an industry professional. There are properties in this town that are great for people that like noise, that like the hustle and bustle, the crowds, the activity. But those places might not be the best fit for somebody looking for a quiet beach escape where they can relax, unwind, not be bothered. This question is so much more than knowing your budget, the amount of bedrooms you need, and whether or not you want to be ocean block or bayside. So here's a list of 10 questions you should really answer and be ready to answer before we talk. Do you prefer north, mid, or downtown? Do you need specific amenities? Do you prefer a building with none? Are you an avid fisher, golfer, walker, shopper, food aficionado, an everyday beachgoer, a pontoon boat lounger? Those lifestyle choices are important for us to understand. Do you need rental income? Do you want rental income? Do you have no plans on renting? Does road noise bother you? How about strict HOAs? Do you have a list of things you need in a property versus things you want? Give us a list of the top 4 things you need a property to have. How do you plan on using the property, and how often do you plan on being at the property? And finally, is there anything else you think I should know? All these questions probably sound like common sense to you, but I'm telling you, for every person that wants an elevator, I'll show you one that doesn't. And for every person that wants a pool, I can show you another that wants nothing to do with it. So please make sure we have this information. Our job is to make sure you end up at a property that gives you the best fit possible. In a town of over 30,000 residences, it makes sense that some will fit exceptionally well and others aren't going to fit at all. And that leads us into our second topic for today, why it's so important to know what's nearby. I've worked with a lot of buyers who are ready to dismiss this as just a waste of time. They've done some Googling, they've stayed in the area, they know what's nearby, so just show me some condos already. This is where I raise the red flag. Slow down, it's not what I mean. For example, let's take a buyer I worked with this past summer. The Smith family. They had 3 young boys. We'd spent a few weeks looking for the right property, and we finally had it narrowed down to 2 condos. The first was a stunning midtown condo on the Ocean block, completely renovated top to bottom. And it was the same price as a very similar Ocean block condo on 122nd Street in North Ocean City. But the second condo hadn't been nearly as updated, wasn't nearly as nice, didn't have that wow factor when you walked inside. So the Smiths were adamant they found the perfect pretty condo at a great price, and they were ready to make an offer on condo 1. Had we not spent a lot of time exploring their why when we first started working together, I would have probably gone ahead and written the offer on that beautifully renovated condo in Midtown. But we had gone through the why. Behind their purchase, I knew they had 3 young boys who were all in summer camp, high energy, sports camps, and I knew they'd constantly be on the go, on the beach, and out doing activities with their family. Essentially just coming back to the condo to sleep. So I asked the Smiths if they purchased condo 2 instead, if they'd considered how much time they might spend at Northside Park, which is a 9-acre city park located only a few streets away with playgrounds, fishing pier, bike paths, soccer fields, baseball fields, and lots of summer sports camps. How nice would it be for them to have that just a few blocks away from their new home? I wanted to know which was more important to them, the reality of a really, really pretty condo or the convenience for all the kids. And then I threw them a curveball. I asked them if they thought about what was nearby in each of the 2 buildings they were comparing. And like most people, the Smiths instantly knew all the nearby attractions and restaurants. They thought they'd done their research. Instead, I asked them if they'd noticed the differences in the locations of the condos, in the different buildings they were looking at. And so I pointed out one of them offered first floor access with a non-shared walkway to get to their front door, a balcony they could secure the kids on, while the other condo was a 3rd floor walk up with a shared walkway located right beside the association stairwell. I wanted to know if they considered how those nearby things would impact their use with 2 young boys and a baby. An hour later, we were writing on condo 2. It wasn't as pretty, but they could change that. And once they realized the nearby, they took a look and a deep look at what was really there. They recognize the value of property number 2. Your why and what's nearby, understanding how much of an impact these 2 factors can have on your enjoyment of your property, it's such an important part of the process. So while it may seem obvious and easily dismissible, I encourage you, don't do that. As always, make sure you're working with a great local agent who has the answers to these 2 things and is ready to use that information to find a property that'll be the best fit for you. Thanks for hanging out today. I really hope you've pulled some useful information from this episode. I'm Grant Fritchley, and if you're looking to purchase in Ocean City or the surrounding area, I'd love to be your realtor. As always, please leave us your questions and comments. We love hearing from you. We'll see you soon.